Okay, so this is going to be part 3 of our discussion. And there I am. I lost myself in the virtual world. We are going to talk about being self-employed now and the pros and cons of all of that. So let's get to the full screen and then let's share. And here we go. All right, so where we ended up was right here. And I want to start this out by saying massage therapists are in a very unique position as a health occupation in the service sector. Because we can operate autonomously. That means we can start our own business. We can be self-employed. Most can't do that. And so we want to really hold on to our autonomy so that we have this as an option within the business. And it's viable. It's a good way to build your career. But you got to understand all that it takes to do that, and understand the different ideas around being self-employed. And I will be perfectly honest with you. Sole practice, home office, massage therapist, self-employed, who has a solid retention business will make the most money because their overhead is lowest. But as soon as you add to an office outside the home, or you go mobile, where you have expenses with your vehicle and time set up, or you have rent because you've rented a small space, that's when this can get a little bit more complex. So here are our chapter objectives with our drilling down into the more specifics with this. And this actually, as we go through this whole thing, becomes components that you would address in a business plan. So here are the components of a business plan. There are external resources that you can tap into on developing a very formal business plan. I don't think that is particularly necessary at entry level, but if you wanted to borrow money to open a business, you certainly would have to have that. SCORE is part of the Small Business Association, and the Small Business Association, the SBA, has so many resources. If you want to be a self-employed and have a small business, really utilize the resources there at their maximum. SCORE is they're business people that are retired, and they can act as a mentor and help you figure out how you're going to do this. So within all of that, you have to come up with a business name. I can remember back in the day, not so much now, but we would have students develop a business card, and oh my goodness, the time and effort put into that name. It's very important. Things like signage and the bigger establishments like the franchise structure, they will use market analysis companies and advertising companies to help them inform how they're going to put that together. That's one of the advantages of using starting a business that way. You know, you're going to want to stop and pay attention to all this. You're going to have to decide, am I going to be doing business as under my own Social Security number, which is what I have always done as self-employed. The school, however, is incorporated as a C Corp, so I know what that's like. And the massage franchise is an LLC. So a lot of people will say, oh, you have to be an LLC if you are going to be self-employed. And I say there's pros and cons to that. And doing business as DBA is much simpler way to do it. They'll say that you've got some liability protection as an LLC, and maybe not. That's what the limited liability corporation means. But certainly explore it. Certainly understand what that means. Then you've got to calculate all your startup costs. What is it going to cost before I even do a massage to set up business? And this gives you some realistic figures around that. And this will change based on what's going on with the economy. Now, where am I going to work? Are there legal things I have to take a look at? Previously, I mentioned a home office. I have to check my zoning. I have to make sure that I have appropriate access to that. Those are all things that we have to take a look at when we're deciding where we are going to work. Now, if you are mobile and go to people's homes, we used to call that on-site, then that's a little bit different because you don't have a permanent location, and you're probably going to conduct a business via some sort of computer or smart device. So the focus on professionalism here is giving some guidance on if you want to generate some income to help pay for rental space, and what a sublease would look like with that, and if you even want to get into that. So that's something you might want to explore. We've got quite a large section here on all the things you have to look at to actually rent a massage office, and the different kinds of offices that can be available. And are you going to be a primary lease or get a primary lease, or is it going to be a sublease? And so I also have property that I lease, so I'm the landlord, so I know what it's like to be a landlord. So this is part of this dynamic that you're going to want to think about. When people are asking me, what should I look for in an office? If you want unique space, I'll say think of a hotel room where you have a little entryway, there's a designated bathroom, and then you have a bigger area where you would set up your office space. And that can be within a more complex building, but each of your spaces, your office space, your restroom space, that's all private. That's kind of ideal. But it's going to be more expensive than if you rent within a facility. So if you rent in a chiropractor's office, for example, there would be shared reception space, probably shared restrooms, and there would be a massage area, a massage room that may or may not be used specifically for massage all the time. Maybe it's used for other therapies if you're not there using the room. So you're giving up a level of privacy and stuff with that when you are in more of a shared space. Then you got to let people know that you're ready for business. So marketing is the big overarching idea of how you are letting people know that you are available as a massage therapist and setting up a massage therapy practice. Advertising is one component of that, but the marketing is much larger than that. So you've got to get this information out, the who, what, when, where, and how. You have to figure out a little bit of a target market. Now, is that going to be people that you have easy access to? Are they, are you looking at a 15-minute drive to your location? Is that what you're going to market to? Do you want to market to a particular population? Do you want to target your market to, say, the senior citizen population? Do you want to work with athletes and target to maybe some of the runners clubs or the bike clubs, or work in conjunction with workout facility, gym, training facilities? You're going to have to figure out what that is. And that will evolve over time. I work primarily with professional athletes. I have for many years. Believe me, there's not any status in that, and it's hard work. The scheduling is difficult. I'm starting to phase away from that, but I still do that. I did not have an intention. My intention was to work with the general public within a rural environment at the time. My career evolved a little bit on its own, kind of took a winding track to that. So, you can have a plan, but you also have to be open to the plan changing. This box is very helpful. It talks to you about some rental examples on how things are going, and I'd spend some time studying that so that you understand how that's going to actually work out. So you have internal marketing and external marketing. Internal stuff is what you do within your business, how you support retention clients, how you create your environment, how you support client attention. Do you remember them on their birthday? That kind of thing. And external marketing would be more like going and speaking at service clubs and being part of a networking group. And your external advertising would be part of that. Social network, how you're going to use social media for all of that. So, and then realistic. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not. It takes about 5 years. So as we continue on with this, this is a proficiency exercise that you can take a look at. And it helps you look at how I want my business to be, how I want my policies, how I want my clients to behave, how I want my hours to be set, how I'm going to set my fees. And in the previous chapter, chapter 2, we talked about creating a brochure, which can be part of your website. And that was in relationship to boundaries, but this also becomes part of that. And it gives you all the criteria. So do this, sit down and get a piece of paper and fiddle around with this and see what you can come up with. And then this is another topic related to the client practitioner agreement and policy statement. Again, I just mentioned from chapter 2. And a lot of this now is hosted electronically on a website. So you'll need to have one. And there are many, many, many ways to do that. So some of the professional organizations that you might become a member of, like the American Massage Therapy Association or Association of Massage and Bodywork Professionals or whatever, or even through your local Chamber of Commerce, might have access to web hosting and support and how to build a website. Just keep it simple. Not too many whistles and bells. That can get complicated to go through. Media, whether it's old-fashioned newspaper or more commonly now social media, that also becomes part of your marketing strategy. And how are you going to do that so whatever you put out there accurately reflects the type of client you want to attract and the type of business you want to build. And then management. This is the day-to-day grind. This is everything from cleaning to laundry to paying your bills. And this is where a lot of businesses fail. So be very realistic with yourself. When you're an employee, the management is taken care of for you. You'll also have zoning, where you have to have particular licenses to open a business. And this is going to give you kind of a step-by-step on how you would go through and make sure you have your business licenses in play as well as your professional licenses. A little bit more information here on home-based business. A massage can lend itself very well to that, or a mobile practice. And you do reduce your overhead costs when you do that. And then, as we have already discussed, we have to figure out what is going to be the legal structure of our business. And the simplest for a sole proprietor, you don't have any employees or anything, it's just you, is going to be doing business as a DBA. And then getting into the whole business finances, the accounting, the bookkeeping, the tax accounting. There are questions about this on the NBLEX exam. So make sure that you have incorporated some of this. And I sometimes will suggest that somebody takes a small business course at the community college, but certainly make use of the SBA Small Business Association and all of the information they have for you on this. And as we progress with this, now we're into the whole idea of how do I generate income? How do I set my fees? How even to make more money with some passive income, like subletting your building. How much can the market bear for how much I can charge for massage? This is very well detailed in the book. Partner up with a fellow classmate or sit down with another business owner and go over this with them. See what they say about what's presented here in the textbook. There are a lot of different ways that you compare and contrast this information. So it gets into the whole idea of discounting fees or increasing fees, or do you charge for no-shows? And everybody's got their opinion about this. You're going to have to come to a peaceful solution to this within yourself and be open to change on that. That takes us then to the end of this chapter. We have our little foot in the door here, kind of a little caveat on how you can think about your career pathway. And as in previous chapters now, we have all of these resources available on Evolve that for Health Enrichment Center students are through Canvas. And we have our multiple choice questions for discussion and review. And the answers to these with the rationales are found on the Evolve site under content updates. So you should know how to do this now, and make sure you continue to write your own questions. It's one of the very best ways to study. So we covered that chapter, and it's a big one. And it's not one that you'll just cover once. It's something that you'll have to go over and over and will change. the way that you unfold your career will change as you mature in your career.